How can you build a $30,000 per month business coaching practice with referrals? That's what we're going to talk about today on the podcast. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Well, welcome. Glad you are here. And I want to applaud you. I want to take just a moment to applaud you for continuing to learn. I think that's the bedrock of developing your skills, improving your positioning, helping you increase your prominence to become one of the best strategists and coaches that you can possibly be. So kudos to you. That's what, isn't it amazing? These days, just the opportunity and the ability to learn compared to 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We didn't have podcasts and YouTube videos and all the different ways. You had to typically go to seminars and, buy books only. There was not a lot of other options, but we have those options today. So kudos to you for continuing to develop. All right. So we're going to talk today specifically, how to build 30 grand or more per month as a coach using a couple of different strategies. The biggest being referrals. Now this is, I guess give a little story, I guess. Recently, one of the coaches in our group had posted online his progress after 2 years. Okay. And that resulted in he finally had achieved $30,000 a month in reoccurring monthly billing. So for context, when we say reoccurring monthly, we're simply saying that he's got clients that are paying him to help them grow their business. They're paying them monthly. Okay. So when we say recurring monthly, these are not just one-time projects. So just imagine just for a moment. Not that everything's about money, but you have to make a living. We all know inflation's, in continuing to increase. So, resources matter and money matters to be able to make a good living, certainly to give back to your community, your church, or whatever it is you want to do. And he's made it to a level, in doing it, just a remarkable job. It's taken 2 years to get there, trial and error and everything else. But I'm going to give you the kind of just the overview and the secret sauce, if you will. It's not that secret, to be truthful, upon what he's done, what you can do, what others are doing to build a solid business coaching practice. Whether maybe you only would need to and want to make $5,000 a month, $10,000, whatever. The number somewhat is arbitrary, but in this case, 30 grand. So I get asked often, hey, what can a coach make? Number one, what do they typically make per client? The average that a coach charges, okay, is around $2,000 per month. Okay. And in his case, he has 14 clients now. Now, if you know how to do math, that's a little over $2,100. I don't know what his breakdown is. I'm sure he's got some probably that started out early that he may have only charged $1,500, some at maybe at $2,500. But you see that number checks out in this case around the $2,000. Okay. So I want to share with you what he's done, what we teach and preach in our community, what you can do and others can do. It's not unusual. There's no hocus pocus craziness. There's nothing brand new in terms of it's just the consistency of the same strategies that we know work. For some reason, the vast majority of coaches just don't want to do it. I don't know why, but they don't. Meaning that, when we apply the consistency of strategies that we know, things can change. It's kind of like, if you're into sports at all, it's football season in America and both college and pros. And if you watch those that develop, especially a quarterback, if you watch that, they're doing the same fundamentals that have been going on forever. And so the athlete that will be consistent with the same fundamentals and the rudiments that's needed for success has a much higher chance to succeed. And that's the reason why you see a lot of either undrafted or very low drafted quarterbacks specifically, but athletes as a whole do far better in the pros than you do those that are higher drafted. It's a kind of a phenomenon. And I'm not trying to, you may differ with that. That's fine. But we see it all the time. Why? I'm telling you, fundamentals matter. All right. So specifically, I'm going to walk you through a process of exactly what our coaches do. Specifically in this case, one of our coaches who just this came up as a recent conversation, and I thought I'd bring it to you to say, look, I want to encourage you. I want to share with you this possible. Again, you may not need to make that kind of money or want to. It's the same principles apply at whatever level that you want to do. Number one, he's very active with in-person gatherings. Okay? Whether you want to call them networking, whether you want to call them business functions, everything from, the business breakfasts, maybe to your chamber functions, to grand openings, the things that happen. He is physically present. Do you have to do it that way? No. I'm telling you what he's done. He's physically present with a lot of different communal activities in the business community. Why does this matter? Because this is how you get to know a lot of different people. This is how you get connected. This is how you become very well known, especially when you apply a principle like that consistently. And so, I think one of my favorite things to do over the years is that going to ribbon cutting ceremonies with brand new businesses. When you do that consistently, you're going to network and meet a lot of people. Part of this is just getting connected. All right. The second thing, and we're talking specifically, I don't want to lose the frame here, referrals. The second thing is he has been very consistent in one area. Maybe you're not familiar with BNI, Business Networking International, but that's a group. BNI. And in his case, this 30,000 has come directly from referrals just from BNI. Think about that. So there's a principle here that you could argue that you could dabble in a lot of areas. I shouldn't say even dabble. You can get involved with a lot of different networking groups. Or you can make a decision that he's made to say, you know what? I'm going to double down and I am going to own this angle. I'm going to own this space. I'm going to own the way this works. That was BNI Groups for him. Now, but the uniqueness here is that, yes, going to other functions and being visible, because that makes it look like he's kind of everywhere, even though he's really not. It just kind of gives optics that he is. Plus, he's interacting with a lot of people that are from the BNI world and the referrals and whatnot, which I'm going to get to that in just a moment. So process out just for you and your mind. Maybe you might say, BJ, I don't really want to do. You don't have to. So just listen, and because there might be, even if you don't want to do it this way, there might be some nuggets here that you could pull from that could help you grow your practice where you are the way you want to do it. So visibility matters. Building relationships matter. When you're out in the community in multiple ways, people see you multiple times, that increases the opportunity for people to know you, to like you, and to trust you, which we do often. Okay. So in addition to all of that, all these different things he goes to, he extends that on social media in two ways. One, the imagery of being at these gatherings, selfies with some of the business owners and or community leaders, being at the ribbon cutting pieces, being at the networking functions, the business breakfasts, and so on. So if you were friends with him on social media, you would, and you never went to any of those functions, optically, it makes him look extremely active. And that just has a very positive appeal. That if you didn't even know him, you would have the assumption this guy is a leader in the business community, just optically. Then some of those, depending upon the scenario, he'll even do a little, 60-second or less blurb about business growth at those functions. So again, if you're seeing multiple posts over a period of, weeks and months, it just has an incredibly attractive character model that just has a great presentation. And all he's done is harnessed and leveraged. We talk about on the podcast all the time, leverage. He's leveraged this in-person gatherings and connections and now extending it now on social media. Okay. Tagging people that came with and whatnot. All right. So, the in-person gatherings, the networking, specifically for him, BNI Groups, extending that on social media. The next thing is a consistent message. as he is building relationships with those that he's going to ask referrals for, as he's connecting with those that are in the business community, much of which may never, ever interact with him as a client. He has a consistent message, which is in our community, all about how we're able to help you double the profits of your business. That is the core message. Yes, we talk about leadership. Yes, we talk about culture. Yes, we talk about marketplace ministry as Christian business coaches. But by and large, our core competency, 70 to 75% of our conversation, is around profits. Here's why. One, the average profits in America is about 10%. So here's the honest to goodness truth. It doesn't require that much effort when you understand what to do to increase and double the profits and certainly also revenues of the business. So that's been his consistent message. We have a very crafted framework on how we talk about that. It's not salesy. It's not spammy or whatever. It really is truly there to help a business owner to think, to put them into what we call the aha zone, to what's possible for them. So that message is consistent, again, with community leaders, with those that he's going to ask referrals for, the referral themselves. And so what happens is that people get to know him more and more and more. That becomes a core message so that when there's an opportunity to be referred, that individual has enough knowledge to go, hey, you might want to talk to my friend here who is an awesome strategist, and he specifically helps businesses double the profits and revenues of the business. So that's what's happening. So he's getting organic and specific referrals because of consistency in the marketplace, consistent optically, the imagery and the optics on social media, and then the message is always consistent. It's not all over the place. It's very consistent, and therefore it's giving him a lot of organic opportunities. Okay? He's also using tools, which we have in our system, our done-for-you system that he's using to do this. We give you a book to be able to engage and to build value. We give you some other types of tools that show value of what's possible and present for a business owner to help them see how this can work for them, I should say. And then lastly, with the individuals inside that networking group that he believes could be a good fit, he is developing referral partnerships. I am not telling you anything that's not been going on for decades. But when you have a well-defined plan and you work the plan, that's the difference. I said secret sauce earlier. It's not really that secret, but your weeks can't just be all over the place. If you're coaching right now and you woke up on a Monday morning and you don't know what your plan is for the week, that's likely your problem. I don't mean that to be negative. I'm just simply suggesting that you must have a plan of what Monday looks like, Tuesday looks like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as it results to building relationships with those that are going to become clients or refer you to those that are going to become clients. So in this case, he doesn't have 5 different strategies. He really only has one. And it's working, and it always does. Because you don't want to be distracted. A distraction is, no questions asked, the enemy to results. And if you're spread too thin with too many strategies, they all work. But when you're doing too many of them, it waters everything down, and you just can't do it as well as you could. So I want to encourage you to really process for you, what is the right strategy? So asks for the referrals in several different ways. Some are very organic. Some are very specific. We call them referral partnerships. Some are very specific. Some are rev share. Or, there's a number of ways that you can do that. They all work. We just got to figure out what's the right fit for you. And then he has some KPIs. He's always after the conversation of looking for the people. And here's at a large overview level, to do the referral part correctly, you cannot come off as it's all about you. You want to make the investment. How are you also going to refer to them? That's the trick. Because when you set it up all about you, it just makes it very simple for it to appear that you're just wanting business for yourself. And you don't want to do that. Okay? So you want to build that. Lastly, in this example, he's also using a predefined workshop that once he gets introduced to the potential referral, he's inviting those referrals to come to a in-person workshop in his community. We call them profit acceleration workshops. You can call it whatever you want, but we again, in our system, we give coaches this entire, live workshop strategy. Have 5, 10, 15 people in a room. We have the slide decks. We have the resources. We have the registration pages. We have how to do it. We have weekly trainings on how to do these workshops well. And then everything I just said is rinse and repeat. And he's been doing it now consistently for 2 years. And I can't stress enough. Sure, there's plenty of other ways to do this. But today, if you're sitting there, you're like, hey, I'm good with people. I know how to shake hands and develop relationships and present or whatever, then a strategy like this could potentially be for you. And here's the awesome part about coaching is I'm sharing kind of at a loose level the way that he did it, but you get to personalize this and make it for you as long as it's providing results, right? We're oftentimes in just about every industry, specifically even coaching, we're looking for this brand new, shiny way to do things. And while the tools will change, the tools will continue to advance. They have to. It's part of, we're not riding horses anymore, right? We're in cars for a reason. Things advance. So tools will advance, but honestly, the strategies won't, because coaching is about helping another individual move from where they are today to where they want to go to. But in our world, it's about helping them to increase their profits and their revenues. Talk about leadership and culture, all those things. And so building their relationship is the absolute most important part of the process. God created us to commune together. And so when you have a specific process like this, in-person gatherings, BNI group, looking for referrals pretty much exclusively, building relationships with those referrals, inviting those referrals to a workshop, and then moving them through the process. That's it. 14 clients in 2 years. And I can tell you how to either layer it in the way he's doing it, layer it in 2 or 3 other strategies, that number would probably down about 7 or 8. Just because, again, I don't want to overstate it. You just don't want to water it down. Now, you may, at times, depending upon a lot of different variables, it may make sense to layer in another strategy. But honestly, when you're consistent with it, you really don't. Oh, by the way, and a lot of our coaches will do this strategy when they're doing workshops. They will schedule a number of workshops over a 6 to 8 month period. So they're already on the calendar. So as you're making invitations to those to come to a workshop, they can't make it to one, you now have another one already that you can encourage them with or invite them to because it's already on the calendar. Great strategy. Okay, hope that helps. Hopes to open your mind. And you're saying, so let me get this straight. That's it. That's right. Yep. Because when you're inviting a number of referrals to in this case, a workshop, and then from there, he's booking what we call an assessment and using our proprietary custom software to show them what's possible specifically about their business. When you do enough of those per month, this is how you get a few clients every couple of months. And then lastly, and we'll talk about this part later on, he's giving them results utilizing our process. That's a roadmap, step by step, guiding them through one strategy at a time and one step at a time. Helping them increase small little increments here, there, just like compound interest when you got them stacked up on each other. That's how you get prolific profit acceleration. There you go. Let that sink in. If you want to talk about this, this like, hey, I've been thinking about, developing a business coaching practice for a long time. You have some business experience at some level. Maybe you own a business. Who knows? But you just don't have the structure. You don't have the tools. You don't have the resources. You don't have the process. You just want to chat about it or just learn about it for that matter. You can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. And we've got some information. You can learn about it. And if you're interested in talking further about it, you can do that as well. Okay. Until next time, take care.